what is there really to say? Can we know anything more? And so on, right? But as this Venn diagram shows, what we know is usually quite limited, right? And then we know that we don't know some things, right? But even that is also a small part, because what we really don't know that we don't know, that makes the big piece of the pie, right? And for me, I know that the more I know that I don't know. So I thought we would start there. And I'm going to ask you a couple of banal questions where the answer seems very obvious. Please excuse me, please humor me, okay? So, who is this? Ah, who is this? Who is this? And who is this? And this? Yeah. So they're all, and then this? Mahamantra. And they have one thing in common. They're all Krishna, right? They're all Krishna in different forms. And for us, it's easy to say, oh yeah, this is Krishna, right? At least for me, that's, oh yeah, Krishna, he's described. And this is also Krishna. This is a bit more difficult, at least for me. Because how can we understand that this is Krishna in his Namarupa, his form of the name, right? I mean, we can understand rationally, oh yeah, yes, I know this is Krishna's form in the name. But do we really understand? Do we really realize what it is that we have the opportunity for when we are chanting the holy name? So we're actually associating directly with Krishna when we chant his holy name. So that's a sort of a mystery that I am trying to understand somehow. And probably it's not something you can really understand with your mind. Probably is an experience you need to have, right? So that's why I wanted to start with this diagram. So, what is the goal of chanting? I suppose on different days it can be different things or different feelings. But I wanted to ask, is it to finish our quota of rounds, right? Yes. Sometimes it's like that, right? Sometimes it's like, oh, I finished my rounds, right? But it's not really the goal, right? I mean, it's good to finish our number of rounds that we want to chant, but it's not really the goal. So, also, one thing I thought about is, how do we feel while we're chanting? Is it, 1 round, 2 rounds, chanting, focusing on finishing, right? Or perhaps after we're chanting, we're relieved, finally I finished my duty, I chanted my rounds, right? Or do we feel connected with Krishna? Do we feel that we're actually experiencing something spiritual, right? And after, do we feel uplifted, elevated, or how do we feel, right? So, the goal, of course, is more chanting. I've been told that Srila Prabhupada said this, which is funny, and I suppose if you do it right, then you will feel like chanting more. And of course, Krishna Prema, right? We want to develop this pure, or uncover our pure love of God, of Krishna. So, and I took some text from a book by Urmila Devi, Srila Prabhupada disciple, about the glories of the holy name. And I'm not going to read anything much from here, but you see that what I said before, that Krishna and his names are non-different, so that's very important. And it can purify us, right? And elevate us and uplift us, but not only us, also others, right? So when we go on Harinam, chanting the Maha Mantra in the streets of Copenhagen, sometimes people, they say, oh, Hari Rama, Hari Krishna, or something, or like that. Or they say, oh, it's the Hare Krishnas, they know who we are, right? So they actually are benefited by this. So even people who don't know anything about it, they can benefit from it. So it's so powerful, right? It's so filled with spiritual potency, this process of chanting. And some real reasons why we should chant, some goals, right, from this process is, of course, to reestablish our relationship with Krishna, right? We have somehow ended up here where we don't really belong. We belong with Krishna, and we can come back to him if we take to chanting seriously. So, also one more very important thing is that actually when we chant Krishna's names, we are serving directly to Krishna, to Srila Prabhupada, and to our Guru, if we have one, right? We can please them. And actually Mahabharata Prabhu here at one lecture, he said that this is actually the purest form of service we can do, chanting japa. Because who is there? Only you and Krishna, right? So there's nobody to say, oh, how well you chanted your rounds today, or something like that. We can't really get any external praise or appreciation. So it's between us and Krishna. It's very personal. Yeah. So, what do we do? How do we go about it? Well, as we heard in the verse, it starts with hearing. So I've been quite lucky. I have had a lot of good teachers in my life. And when I started practicing kirtan, this person told me it's very important. First you hear, you just listen, and you receive the mantra, and then you sing, you repeat, and you give the mantra back. And there's an exchange, it's a relationship, right? And that's how it is. So it all begins with hearing. Because if we don't hear about Krishna, how can we have a relationship with him, right? If we don't know who he is, if we don't know anything about him, if we don't know anything about the holy name, what it means, what it can do for us, then it's very difficult to remember Krishna, for example, right? So we need to hear from Srila Prabhupada in the form of his books, and of course lectures and so on that are available to us thanks to the machines used in Krishna consciousness. And then if we can hear, well, then we naturally feel like we want to repeat, right? We want to chant. And we chant in different ways. We chant together, as we did before with Angellinah Mataji, doing Sankirtan, chanting together as a congregation. And we chant japa for ourselves. And also every time we have katha on Krishna, we also are engaged in chanting, right? So for chanting together, it's very important that we actually listen. Okay, what is the kirtan leader singing? And we try to follow nicely, right? And then we can do this together. But when we are alone, then it's just us and the holy name. So that's different. But we should still hear, what am I chanting? Am I pronouncing the mantra nicely? Because as we read in the verse, we should glorify the holy name. We should glorify Krishna. And so whether we sing, whether we chant japa, maybe we can strive for glorifying the holy name as we speak it, right? Whether we sing or we chant in japa. I think that's a very nice meditation. Okay, I'm actually trying to glorify the holy name. How am I doing? I hope I can serve it nicely. I can serve Krishna nicely, right? And one thing that people often talk about is the number of rounds, right? But actually, His Grace Mahatma Prabhu, also a Srila Prabhupada disciple, he says that we should focus first on quality, not quantity. Because then when we chant quality japa, then we actually experience something, we get some taste, and then we want to chant more naturally, right? So if we chant nicely, if we chant good rounds, then we want to chant more naturally. So, so we listen to our chanting. Am I chanting nicely? And then we can observe also, right? Is my mind here in the present? Am I actually in sattva gun, right? The present moment, that's sattva gun. Or am I thinking about yesterday, how annoying this guy was in traffic, right? Am I in tamas, in ignorance? Or am I thinking about, well, later today I have to do this shopping, or, am I in rajas in the future? Where am I while I chant? So, there was a story about a devotee in Mayapur who really wanted to chant. He wanted to chant 64 rounds every day. So he isolated himself in a hut and he just chanted. And when Srila Prabhupada heard this, he was very unhappy. He said, he's just getting Maya. He's not taking association of devotees. I told him not to do this, but still he went ahead and did it. So that's one way not to do it. That will not please Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so some practical things we can think about is our external environment and our internal environment, right? And in Krishna consciousness, you often hear this time, place, and circumstance phrase, right? And so we can think about, okay, what time is a good time for me to chant? And generally, it's recommended that you do it early in the morning. You rise early, before the day starts, and you can immerse yourself, right? But of course, for different people, the situation can be different. But it's very good to dedicate a time to chant, right? Whether it's early in the morning or some other time of the day, but some quiet time for you and Krishna. And so place is also important, right? So for example, the temple is a very nice place to chant because it's just filled with this atmosphere of Krishna and the holy name and so on, right? So, but at home we can also have such an atmosphere that reminds us of Krishna. And I have been to many devotees' homes, and they're always so nice, filled with pictures and murtis of Krishna. Almost everybody has an altar and so on. So we can make our home like a temple, right? We can create a space in our home where we can chant nicely and immerse ourselves. And then, of course, circumstances. Well, sometimes you are not able to sit quietly in your sacred space at home. Maybe you're traveling or something, but then we can try to sort of create a bubble around us and just try to focus, right? So these are all things we can think about when we chant. And also the internal space, right? What's going on in my mind? What am I feeling? Am I actually focused? Am I ready? And how can we get ready if we aren't ready? So there are many things you can do. You can, for example, create some good habits, right? Maybe you wake up, you have a nice cup of tea, you sit down, and maybe you read some Shastra, or maybe you play your favorite kirtan, you get in the mood like that, and then you can chant more easily. So habits are very powerful, and we want to create habits that support our goals, what we want, right? So we need good japa habits. And a quote here from Mahatma Prabhu, he says, "Act like everything depends on you, but pray like everything depends on Krishna." right? So, of course, we are reliant on the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, of the other acharyas and Krishna and so on, but we can't just sort of wait and think, well, I have to wait for Krishna's mercy. No, we have to act also, right? We have to do what we can. We all know the story about Damodar Lila, right? 2 fingers short. We need this mercy. We need to put in effort, but we also need this mercy. So, this is an example of such an internal sacred space, right? So you see, inside the heart we have meditation on the name of the holy name, right? Our commitments to chanting, perhaps our intentions with chanting, our feelings that we want to experience while chanting, maybe some prayers. And outside you see all the things that we shouldn't think about, right? Actually, I want to go back. Oh, here, right? So Arjuna, he was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, facing 2 mighty armies, standing in between and thinking, wow, what will I do? But for us, I think we frequently experience Kurukshetra just in the form of, well, here's the cell phone, here are dishes or laundry, or here's my work, or here are children, right? So we have to think, okay, we have to fight. We have to, okay, now I will chant. I want to chant, right? And then we immerse ourselves. Maybe it's just me, but sometimes it feels like that. So another great quote, which Henrik Prabhu reminded me of yesterday, is chant with love and you will love to chant. And it makes sense if you think about it, right? Because I think everybody has experienced really nice chanting, right? You get this feeling, I like that, that was very nice, I want to repeat. Very easy in kirtan, right? Very easy. You get drawn into it. So that's a meditation. And also, again, trying to set the mood for ourselves. We can have some intention for our chanting session, right? We can use some japa affirmations, for example. And I have some examples here, right? So, but there are many more. And I would like to encourage those of you who would like to try to choose one to set this intention as we will actually chant the Maha Mantra in a short while, right? So, yeah, I think that was it. And we will prepare for chanting japa. And so, as I said, try to give yourself a new experience, perhaps. If you don't usually use any japa affirmations, you could try one today. Maybe we can have them on the screen as we chant. Or we should have Maha Mantra. Maha Mantra, okay. And today I want to encourage everyone to try to have your own experience. I don't really want to lead everybody in synchronized chanting, okay? So you chant with your own focus, you chant with your own speed, and then we will do this together, but also individually, right? So, those of you who don't know how we chant on beads, we have the main bead here, the Guru bead, and on this one we will chant the Pancha Tattva mantra before we start, and then